I, 29 male, work as a project manager for a large-scale commercial construction firm. For the last 2 years, I thought I had built a solid foundation with my girlfriend. She was a splash of color in my beige world. Spontaneous, artistic, working in boutique PR. The demolition of my life didn't happen with a wrecking ball. It started with a single vibration in my pocket on a Tuesday afternoon. I was standing on the 3rd floor of an unfinished office complex, arguing with a concrete supplier about a delayed shipment, when my phone buzzed. I pulled it out, wiping drywall dust off the screen. It was a text from my girlfriend. There's a surprising twist in our relationship you should know about. I can't keep it inside anymore. I stared at the screen. The phrasing was bizarre. It sounded like a clickbait headline or one of those dramatic teasers she wrote for her clients' press releases. My first instinct was confusion, followed quickly by a knot of anxiety tightening in my chest. I texted back immediately. "What do you mean? Is everything okay?" No reply. I waited 5 minutes. Then 10. I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. My mind started doing that thing where it spirals into the worst-case scenarios. Was she pregnant? That would be a twist. Was she breaking up with me? Was she sick? The twist part felt weirdly playful, but the subsequent silence was heavy and cold. I texted again. "You're freaking me out. Please call me." 3 hours passed. The sun started dipping below the steel girders, casting long, cage-like shadows across the site. I couldn't focus. I told my foreman to close up shop and drove home, my house, which I bought a year before I met her, with a pit in my stomach that felt like I'd swallowed a bag of gravel. When I pulled into the driveway, her car wasn't there. That wasn't entirely unusual, but given the text, it felt ominous. She didn't officially live with me, but she spent about 5 nights a week here. She called her own apartment the closet, and basically used it to store her off-season clothes. I walked inside, half expecting a surprise party or a somber, we need to talk setup on the couch. The house was empty, dark, silent. I walked into the bedroom. Her side of the bed was unmade, a tangle of sheets. On her nightstand, where she usually kept a stack of fashion magazines and half-drunk water glasses, sat her leather-bound journal. Now, I want to be clear. I am not the type of guy who snoops. I believe in privacy. I think going through a partner's phone or diary is a sign of insecurity. But she had sent me a cryptic text about a twist and then vanished off the face of the earth for 6 hours. I was worried she was having a mental health crisis. I checked the bathroom for signs of, I don't know, anything bad. Nothing. I went back to the nightstand. The journal was slightly open, a pen jammed into the crease to mark a page. It wasn't the page she was currently writing on. It was an entry from 2 days ago. I picked it up. My hands were shaking, not from the cold, but from a primal instinct screaming that my reality was about to be rearranged. I sat on the edge of the bed and read the entry. Plan B is finally ripening. The backup is ready to commit. David told me today that his bonus came through, and he's looking at ring designs. I almost laughed in his face. It's taken 8 months of juggling, but the finish line is finally here. Narrator me is great for the ego, and God knows I love it. He pays for all the groceries, the utilities, and the weekend trips. But let's be real, he's a construction worker. He comes home tired. He's dirty. He's safe. David is a jackpot. VP of sales. The irony is, narrator thinks we're heading toward marriage. I need to keep him sweet for just 2 more weeks until David closes on the downtown condo. Then I can drop the "it's not you, it's me" speech and upgrade my lifestyle without a gap in comfort. No homeless period for me. I read it again. And again, he's a construction worker. I make solid 6 figures. I own my home. I have 0 debt. I have a 401k and a diversified portfolio. But to her, because I wear Red Wing boots to work and come home with grit under my fingernails, I was just a safe option, the placeholder, the wallet she used while she hunted for something shiny. She'd been seeing this David for 8 months. 8 months. That meant all those times she was working late or visiting her parents. She was auditioning my replacement. Then I flipped back a few pages and found the context for the text she sent me. The twist. I think I'm going to tell David that I've been living with a roommate who is toxic and borderline abusive. That's the narrative. Narrator becomes a villain. David becomes a savior who rescues me from the bad situation. It's perfect. It explains why I'm always stressed and why I need to move in with him immediately. The air left the room. The text she sent me earlier. There's a surprising twist in our relationship you should know about. Wasn't meant for me. She meant to text him. She was teasing him about the twist of her fake toxic roommate situation, ramping up the drama to hook him. She had misfired, and when she realized she sent to me, she probably panicked and shut off her phone to buy time to concoct a lie. I didn't scream. I didn't throw the lamp against the wall. Even though I wanted to, I went completely cold. This wasn't just heartbreak. This was industrial-grade deceit. This was sociopathic. She was planning to destroy my reputation, labeling me toxic and abusive, just to make her transition to the new guy smoother. I took a photo of the page about Plan B. I took a photo of the twist entry. Then, I put the diary back exactly as I found it. I went to the living room, turned off the lights, and waited. She walked in at 11:45 p.m. She looked flustered, her hair slightly messy, wearing a dress I hadn't seen her leave in that morning. She spotted me on the couch in the dark and immediately launched into a performance that deserved an award. "Oh my God, babe," she gasped, dropping her purse and rushing over. "I am so sorry. My phone died literally right after I texted you, and then I got stuck at Jessica's because her car broke down on the highway and we had to wait for AAA for hours, and it was a total nightmare." She hugged me. I smelled it instantly. Beneath her floral perfume, there was a faint, distinct scent of expensive men's cologne. Cedar and citrus. Definitely not mine. I didn't recoil. I forced my body to stay rigid but not aggressive. I was worried. I said, my voice flat, monotone. What was the twist? She froze for a microsecond against my chest. I could feel her calculating, spinning the wheels. The twist? Oh, Jessica. She's getting eloped. That was a twist. I was just so excited to tell you. Right, I said. Jessica, that is surprising. She pulled back, scanning my face in the dim light. You look exhausted. Go to bed. I'm going to shower. She skipped off to the bathroom, probably to wash the scent of David off her skin. She thought she was in the clear. She thought I was a dumb blue-collar guy who could build a skyscraper, but couldn't put two and two together. The next morning, the entitlement began to bleed through in a way that made my skin crawl. She woke up chirpy, making pancakes in my kitchen with my flour, humming a tune. So, she said, flipping a pancake onto a plate. I was thinking, my lease at my place is up at the end of the month. It feels really silly to keep paying that rent when I'm here basically every night anyway. Why don't I just move in officially? We can put my name on the house deed just for security, you know? Since we're partners. It would make me feel so much safer. I sipped my black coffee, watching her over the rim of the mug. The audacity was breathtaking. She wanted on the deed. She wanted legal claim to my asset 2 weeks before she planned to dump me for the VP of sales. She wanted a payout. If she was on the deed, even for a week, she could force a sale or demand a buyout when she left. That's a big step, I said, keeping my voice steady. Don't you trust me? She pouted, crossing her arms and leaning against the counter. I mean, after 2 years, if you don't know I'm the one, what are we even doing? Unless you want me to renew my lease? But that's nearly $2,000 a month we could be saving for our future. Don't you want to build a future with me? She was pushing the timeline. The diary said she needed 2 weeks. She was trying to secure a fallback asset in case the backup got cold feet, or maybe she planned to take half my equity as a parting gift. Let me think about it. I said, I need to check with the bank about how adding a name affects the mortgage rate. You know how banks are. You always make things so technical, she huffed, rolling her eyes. It's about love, not paperwork. I left for work. I didn't go to the site immediately. I went to a lawyer. I sat down with a shark of a family law attorney named Miller. I showed him the photos of the diary. I told him about the deed request. Miller looked over his glasses, his expression grim. Do not sign anything. Do not let her receive mail there. In this state, The laws are tricky. If she's not on the deed and not on a lease, she's a guest. However, if she establishes tenancy, moving furniture in, receiving bills, you have to evict her, which takes months. Does she pay rent? No, I said. I pay for everything. Does she have a key? Yes. Does she have another legal residence? Yes. She has a lease at an apartment complex. Across town. Good, Miller said. That's your silver bullet. Since she maintains a primary residence elsewhere, she hasn't established tenancy at your home yet. She is a guest whose invitation can be revoked. You need to act before her lease is up. If she moves her furniture in, you're in for a nightmare. I left the office with a plan. It wasn't enough to just break up. She had treated me like a financial resource, an object. She was actively plotting to slander me as an abuser, to justify her monkey branching to this new guy. I needed to scorch the earth. I initiated what I called Operation Twist. I waited until Wednesday. According to the diary, Wednesdays were date night with David because his estranged wife had custody of his kids that evening. At 6:30 p.m., I got the text. Client dinner running late. Don't wait up. Love you. I was already busy. I had 3 buddies from the construction site over, big guys, witnesses, just in case things got weird later. We packed her entire life into heavy-duty trash bags. Clothes, makeup, the espresso machine she insisted I buy but never cleaned, her shoes. Everything. We put the bags on the curb. Not on the porch. On the public curb. Right next to the recycling bin. I called a locksmith I work with on commercial jobs. He rekeyed the entire house in 20 minutes. Deadbolts, back door, garage code, all changed. Then I sat down on my porch steps and drafted the text. I attached a photo of the diary page, the one detailing Plan B in the toxic roommate narrative. I texted her, found your twist, and hey, I saved you the trouble of moving. Your stuff is on the curb. Don't worry, I made sure the backup knows you're coming. I hit send, but I didn't stop there. This is where the dirty tricks met the wall. I had done my homework. David wasn't hard to find with the details in her diary. A LinkedIn search for David and VP of Sale in our city, combined with the company description she'd vaguely mentioned in the past, narrowed it down to one guy. I found his work email. I forwarded the photos of the diary pages to him with the subject line, "The twist regarding your toxic roommate." I wrote, she's not living with a roommate. She's been living with her boyfriend of 2 years. She's planning to dump me once you close on your condo. She wrote in her diary that you are the jackpot, and I am the safe option. Thought you should know you're the financing plan, not the soulmate. Good luck. Then I turned off the porch lights and waited. Her reaction was nuclear. She didn't come back alone. She came back with him. I watched from the upstairs window. A sleek black Audi pulled up to the curb. She got out, looking absolutely frantic. She saw the mountain of black trash bags on the curb. She started screaming. Not crying. Screaming. Open the door. You can't do this. This is illegal. She was pounding on the front door, kicking it. I opened the window on the second floor. Go away, I shouted down. You don't live here. She looked up, her face twisted in rage. I have rights, she shrieked. I live here. I'll call the cops. You have a lease at the Skyline Apartments. I yelled back, you're a guest here, and guests get kicked out when they steal and lie. David was standing by the car, illuminated by the street lamp. He was looking at his phone. He must have just read my email. He looked from his phone to the bags of clothes on the wet grass, to her screaming like a banshee. He didn't step in to defend her. He walked over to the trunk of his car, made sure it was locked, and then got into the driver's seat. She turned around, realizing he was leaving. David. No, he's lying. He's crazy. He fabricated it. David, wait. David rolled down the window about 2 inches. I couldn't hear exactly what he said, but I saw him hold up his phone, screen facing her. It was a photo of the diary page. She froze. He shook his head, rolled the window up, and floored it. She stumbled back in her heels, watching her jackpot speed away down the street. She turned her fury back on me. She lost it. She picked up a concrete garden gnome from my lawn, one my mom had bought me as a joke, and hurled it through my front living room window. Crash! Glass shattered everywhere. The alarm system started blaring. That was a mistake she couldn't undo. I called the police immediately. My ex-girlfriend, who does not live here, just smashed my window and is trying to break in. I fear for my safety. When the cops arrived, she tried to play the victim card hard. She switched on the tears instantly, hyperventilating. He threw me out. He abused me. He's stealing my things. He's a monster. The officer, a veteran who looked like he'd seen the specific drama 1,000 times, walked over to me. Is she on the lease? The deed. No, sir, I said calmly. She has an active lease at her own apartment. I have a copy of it here. She came over to break up with me and started destroying property when I told her to leave. I live here, she screamed at the officer. Ma'am, the officer said, do you have a key? He changed the locks. So you can't get in. You have a residence elsewhere. You just smashed a window. That's criminal mischief and vandalism. She tried to leverage her status. Do you know who my father is? She hissed. Her father was a local dentist. Well off, but not exactly political royalty. I don't care if your father is the president, the officer said, pulling out his cuffs. You're under arrest. As they put her in the squad car, she wasn't looking at me with sadness or regret. She was looking at me with pure, unadulterated hatred. The mask was gone. The free spirit was just a grifter who got caught. The aftermath was a grind, but deeply satisfying. She tried to sue me for illegal eviction. My lawyer, Miller, laughed it out of court. Since she had a primary residence and hadn't moved her furniture in and paid 0 bills, she had no standing. The judge actually scolded her lawyer for bringing a frivolous suit. She tried to get a restraining order against me to save face, claiming I was stalking her and had hacked her phone. I produced the diary pages in court as evidence of her premeditated plan to defraud me of housing and her infidelity, proving that my contact was limited to returning her property. The judge dismissed her request. David, the backup, apparently ghosted her completely. I heard through mutual friends that he realized if she could do that to me, plot to destroy my reputation and steal my equity, she would do it to him the second a bigger wallet came along. But the cherry on top, her parents found out. I didn't tell them directly, but when she was arrested for the window smashing, she had to call Daddy for bail. And when she had to explain why she was homeless, her actual landlord evicted her shortly after because she had stopped paying rent, assuming she was moving into my place or David's. The truth came out. She lost the SAIC guy. She lost the jackpot guy. She lost her apartment. And she has a vandalism charge on her record that shows up whenever a PR agency runs a background check. I kept the diary. It sits on my bookshelf now. A reminder. I'm dating again, but things are different. I don't look for the free spirit anymore. I look for structural integrity. I look for someone who values a construction worker as much as the CEO. People ask me if I regret doing it so harshly, if I should have just had a conversation and let her go gently. Then I remember the line, he's safe, no homeless period for me. She treated my life like a waiting room. I just decided to call her number early. Moral of the story. If you're going to write down your master plan to screw someone over, maybe don't leave it next to the bed of the guy who builds structures for a living. We know how to spot a crack in the foundation before the whole house comes down.